welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to do a really fun video featuring the Melange paint brand. Within the brand, there are 3 lines of paint. We're going to go over each one today. We're going to take a look at the differences, and I'm going to tell you which one's my favorite. So we've moved on over to my workbench. We're going to go through all 3 formulas. I'm going to swatch them here on the board, and then I'm going to pick my favorite formula, and we're going to do an entire furniture makeover. Before we go in and start painting, let's just talk a little bit about each one of these paints. And we'll start with this one. This is the Artisan Mineral Paint. This is their OG. This is their first one they ever developed. So let me put my readers on, don't mind me, and give you a little more information about what it says on the label. This is their mineral paint. It's their original Artisan Mineral Paint formula. It's a matte finish paint that dries to a chalky finish. Top coat is recommended on this one for protection. Okay, so our next one is called ONE. It is their all-in-one paint. Let me read you a little bit about this one. This is their signature lustrous finish one-step furniture paint. ONE is a low VOC acrylic water-based formula with easy water cleanup. It does have a primer in it. However, our clear bonding and stain blocking primers may be used with it, it says, if needed. ONE does not need to be sealed as it has a protective top coat built into the formula. And our last one is the Melange Modern. This is their newest line that they just added. This is a water-based hybrid alkyd enamel paint. Let me read a little bit about this one for you. The Melange Modern provides a flawless, smooth satin sheen that cures to a rock-hard enamel finish for the extreme durability of traditional oil-based paint, but with the ease of a water-based paint. So this one is a little bit different in the fact that out of the 3, this one's got the longest dry time and recoat time. We'll talk more about that as I'm putting the paints on. Let's go ahead and dive in. Pause there for a minute. I knocked off my sign. What I was trying to say is you don't want to dip in all the way to the base of your paintbrush, about 1/4 to halfway down. And then you're just going to go ahead and apply. Using these type of paints is super easy. The mineral paint, especially with Melange, it goes on really, really nice. At this point, I don't feel like I have to use my water mister bottle, but I like having it on hand just in case. Weather dictates everything. So right now we're really cool. It is winter time. In the summertime, if I were painting this, it may be setting up a little bit faster, and I'd want to use my water mister bottle to help the ease of application. On its own though, it goes on really, really smooth. Again, we're using just a pine board today for demonstration purposes, but we will be doing a full piece of furniture with one of these paints as well. I've gone ahead and wrapped my brush up. It's a little trick that I do in between coats in some saran wrap. I'm going to set it aside, and when we're ready for our second coat, all I have to do is unwrap it. While that one's drying, let's move on to the next formula. That is the ONE formula. This color is London Black, which again, I've never used this color. So I've used quite a bit of colors of the Melange line, but they came out with a bunch of new ones recently, and London Black was one of them. So this is my first opportunity that I'm gonna have to use this one. Again, take your stir stick, really get it all the way down to the bottom and give it a good. The consistency on this one is very similar to the mineral paint. So it's got a nice thin consistency, which again is going to make for nice, easy application. So let's go ahead and get this one on. For this one, I'm going to go ahead and use my Zebra angled brush. This is my Zebra 2-inch angled brush, another favorite. One of the reasons I love Zebra brushes, they're a little more economical and easy on the pocketbook, which you can't beat that. So now the advantage to this one over the mineral paint, again, this does have a built-in top coat. Now, you can choose to add a top coat to this if you would like. If you just feel like you need that extra added durability, you can certainly add a top coat. But there is one built in and it's not necessary to do so. That's the advantage of this one paint over the mineral paint. I will tell you that your dry time is going to be about the same, again, depending on your climate. Today, we're going to let both of these set up for about an hour and see where we're at. All right, now we are at the final one, and this is the Modern Melange. So the difference between this formula is that this is a hybrid enamel paint, which enamel paints typically are a oil-based enamel, and they dry rock hard. This is a water-based enamel, so it's really got a great advantage to it. Now, you can see, wait till you see, you definitely need to stir. This is why. You see that color looks dark gray? That's not our color today. Wait till you see when I mix this up. This just goes to show you, this is a brand new can, but during shipping, and it's been sitting here on my shelf for just a little bit, it starts to settle. So this is exactly why you want to go ahead and stir up your paint. Again, I'm not a shaker, I'm a stirrer. I don't like to cause any unnecessary air bubbles in my paint. But look, you can see our color is definitely not a dark gray. This color is called junket gray. This is a lighter gray. I have used this color before and it's absolutely beautiful. So we're gonna go ahead and continue to keep stirring because I can still see the discoloration. And that's when you're gonna wanna stop. As soon as you see it fully mixed in and you no longer see that discoloration, then you're good to go. So with this paint, and just as a side note, I have a video showcasing this paint, showcasing this paint, and showcasing this paint. So we have separate videos on all three of these formulas. I thought it would be fun today to do kind of a side-by-side to show you all three in one video. So let's go ahead. I've got my next brush, which is another zebra brush. This is my Palm Pro, and it's a 2-inch brush. This is a great, great brush. You can use this for painting and top coating. So let me go ahead, finish stirring this off camera, making sure I get it all mixed up, and we'll get started with this one. All right, so it's been 1 hour. This one, totally dry. This one, totally dry. This one, it might feel dry, but it's not ready yet. This one yields a dry time of 4 to 8 hours. When it says that, I would follow that instruction. So we're leaving this one alone for now, but we're gonna go ahead and recoat each one of these. Let me just show you though. I wanna get in really close so you can see the coverage on these. So here's our first one. This is the Artisan Mineral Paint in the color Turtle Dove. Great coverage. Considering this is pine and I didn't prime it, really, really great coverage. Then here is our color London Black in the ONE formula. Now, of course, you know I missed some spots, but I didn't want to overwork it because ideally I would rather have a smoother finish and pick up on my second or third coat than to cause unnecessary brush strokes by continuing to work the area. And then here is our third section here, which is not ready for recoat, but I'm just showing you coverage-wise, so good. Sand in between coats, honestly, any one of these three formulas if you feel you need to. The mineral paint may feel a little chalky because it dries down to a matte chalky finish, and you might want to knock that down or smooth it out a little bit. I've sanded all three of these in between coats if I've needed to. There's two options I'll show you today. One are the rad pads, which I will link below, and then I have these. These are in my Amazon shop, but these are also a sanding pad. Both in a very fine, because you don't want to etch or scratch your paint surface. All you want to do is just kind of soften it up. So I'm going to hit both of these at the same time. And that's it. After that, you'll want to wipe it down. I usually take a microfiber cloth and then go in with your next coat. All right, while those are drying, I'm gonna show you the piece that we're gonna be painting today, and I'm gonna be spraying it in my favorite formula. Can you guess which one it is? Let me show you. It's the One. So we're gonna go ahead and do a full furniture makeover using the One. Let me show you what we're gonna be painting. Here's our piece today. We are going to be painting this in the Melange ONE London Black. Now I have gone ahead off camera and prepped this piece. I've done so by using a degreaser, deglosser cleaner, and I've also scuff sanded this. This is a manufacturer painted piece, so it had a little bit of a slick surface to it, so I went ahead and did the extra and did a nice scuff sand. In today's video, I am gonna be using my Fuji Q4 spray system. Take a look at our sample board before we dive into the piece. First color is the mineral paint in the Turtle Dove. Look how beautifully smooth. I'm coming at it from an angle so you can see and really up close how smooth. No brush strokes, and that is beautiful. 2 coats of coverage, and remember, we're on a natural pine board that I did not prime here. The second one is our One, and again, beautifully smooth. You do obviously see the grain coming through, but the coverage is amazing, and it looks so incredibly smooth. And our third one here is our Modern Melange. 2 coats of coverage, again, very, very smooth, dried down beautifully, and I'm impressed with all 3. I went ahead here in just a few little spots, done a spot prime. I had a couple of areas I sanded down to bare wood, and so I wanted to make sure that I had a nice even flow with my paint and consistency, so I went ahead and spot primed them. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room, because I know you're all gonna ask. You spray with the drawers in? Absolutely. If they are a flush mount drawer like this, I will spray with the drawers in to begin. Now, I will pull these drawers out individually as soon as I get all my coats on, and I'll spray the interior trim. Why do I do it like that? It's a space saver, honestly, and when I'm filming a video, it works so much better for me to show you how I'm painting a piece fully. Also, I like spraying at the angle straight on than to be standing over it, spraying down on it. So that's why. All right, now the other thing you might be wondering is, I've seen people spray and yours looks like it's going on so incredibly light. It is. It's going on like that because of the way that I have my spray system dialed in. A, I don't want a lot of overspray. B, I don't want a ton of product shooting out of my gun where I can have runs or drips. So I choose to keep it tightened down a little bit so not a ton of product is pushing out. The other thing is, the more product I put on, the longer it's gonna take to dry in between coats. It's cool out. I'm not in the summer where I'm drying in 30 minutes or less. So the lighter coats that I do, the better off I am. Here's our first coat. We're gonna go ahead and let this dry down. As soon as it's ready for its second coat, I will most likely do that off camera. Just because I'm repeating the process, you don't need to see it again. But I do want to show you, because this is another question I get asked, what about overspray on the inside of the drawers because of the holes? Let me show you what I do. So in order to not get any overspray inside, here's what I do. That's it. I put a little tape over the hole. Voila, we will have no overspray. I will also come back and show you how I go ahead and get these edges once this coat is dry. Go ahead and show you, this is the first coat. I do have this tipped over on its back so that I can get the underside and give everything underneath, the feet, a first coat. But I wanted to show you everything dried down first coat. Looks really, really good. I'm very happy with that. Coverage is really great on this. Our second coat will cover all of the peek through that you see. The other reason I like to put it on its back is all of this. All of this, when it's sitting upright, you don't get all of that underneath. So this way I get every single nook and cranny and nothing is gonna be left. While this is drying, let me give you just a few quick tips. When you're spraying, you wanna be about 6 to 8 inches away from your piece. And when I say 6 to 8 inches, I mean 6 to 8 inches from here, from your needle. That's a really good distance to be away from your piece, so you're not gonna get too much product on the piece. Do you need to thin? It depends on the paint, and it also depends on the color. Whites and light colors are made with a colored pigment. Dark colors are made with a clear pigment. So there can be a difference between the thicknesses of the paint. Now, I showed you in the beginning of the video that this is a pretty thin consistency paint. I did thin it just a teeny tiny bit. It's going to depend on your paint, on your spray system, so I can't give you the exact formula, but usually I do thin my paint just a tad. To get a nice even finish with no striping, I overlap. I overlap each pass by about 50%. And lastly, as you can see, and I mentioned earlier, I don't have a ton of overspray. One of the reasons for that is not only my system, but the fact that I've got all of my little dials tuned in just right. Not only will it help me to control how much overspray I get, but also how much paint is coming out of the gun. And we don't want a ton of paint coming out because then you're gonna have drips and runs and orange peel. So it's better to go and do more coats, but have a nice even light mist on your piece. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for being subscribers. If you aren't subscribed, make sure you go hit that subscription button as well as the post notification bell so you're notified when all of my latest videos are released. If you have any positive comments or questions, make sure you leave them down below, as I love engaging with you all and I'll always answer your questions. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you on the next video.